Hello, friends. This is Annette of AnnetteLeonard.com, back with another moment for chronic wellness. Thanks for joining me here. We're continuing to talk about the difficult task of managing your weight while chronically ill. And I had the uphill battle of trying to lose 70 pounds as quickly as I could to try to get on the transplant list so that I could perhaps receive the life-saving gift of 2 lungs. And I, being really overweight and still on high-dose prednisone, didn't know how that was going to happen. So I started by tracking everything that I was putting in my mouth. And folks, it was radical honesty time. I was just trying to be impeccable and not lying to myself, like weighing things out, measuring things out, counting nuts, whatever it was. And I used the app MyFitnessPal to track everything. And if it was a recipe, I was building the recipe and trying to be honest about how big a serving I was having of it. And from that, was able to see how many calories I was taking in, and at that number of calories, whether I was gaining weight, losing weight, or staying stable. And what I learned is that on a recommended calorie allowance, which for me was something like 1,250 or 1,300 calories a day, on the meds that I was taking, I was still gaining weight. And so it was clear that in order to lose weight, I was going to have to cut by something drastic and drop below recommended calorie allowances in order to lose weight. And so that is what I did. And because my muscle wasting disease impacts the creatinine kinase, which is a protein in our smooth muscle, in our skeletal muscle, I became really impeccable about my protein intake. So about 70% of my calories I try to intake through protein, and the other 30 I'm really dedicated to getting through vegetable matter. So I don't do a lot of breads or starches, grains, carbs, but try to take in a lot of vegetable and fruit matter. So that's how I break down my calories during the day. And extreme calorie restriction, like stuff that the nutritionist's eyebrows were in her hairline when I told her how few calories I was eating for a day. And when I would try to go log my diary in MyFitnessPal at the end of the day, every day I would get the red letter message saying, you're not taking in enough calories. You shouldn't log this day as finished. You should go eat some more. And if I would eat some more, I would be gaining weight. So thus was the dilemma. I was taking in less than what was recommended, but it was the only way because I was getting no exercise. I was living the most sedentary life because I could not move, both because of my muscle situation and because of my lungs. And so that was what was necessary at the time, was this very minimal number of calories, going to bed hungry. There's no amount of like shredded carrots that's going to make you feel as full as, a couple of pieces of bread at the end of the day, that my tummy felt hungry. And particularly with the gnawing feeling of prednisone, just like always saying like, no, lady, you are hungry. This is not just a feeling, like you are ravenous. And P.S. also really angry and cranky to boot, to convince me that I needed more food. And I knew that I needed those lungs. So nothing like the specter of, hey, you're going to die, and this is the only way to save your life to motivate that kind of calorie restriction. And so, slowly but surely, like it felt like the turning of a giant ship in my mind, like how slow the beginning of that weight loss felt. And then, as is true with so much of my experience of weight loss in the past, things did start to move. There was a steady progression. I started to get momentum and have regular weight loss over the weeks. And then as it started getting closer to the goal weight, things slowed right down. So, so that is how I lost weight, by radical calorie restriction and radical honesty, tracking everything, everything that touched my lips in MyFitnessPal. Have you ever used it? Have you ever done calorie restriction and just calorie tracking as your way to lose weight? I wonder. Sound off. Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. So post a comment. Let me know. Be glad to hear from you. In the meantime, thanks for being here. We'll do one more on this subject because it could go on and on and on, but I'm eager to move on to something else, and I wonder if you are too. But thanks for being here, and until we're together again, be well.